By now, the majority of people who make New Year's resolutions have given up. What better time to talk about why we fail? Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to Tread Talks. Each year, about 40% of Americans make some form of New Year's resolution to try to change something in their lives for the better. And I think that's a great thing. I do it myself. But right around the beginning of February, the majority of those people have given up. And as someone who has tried to make positive change in his life and has often failed at doing so, I can tell you that we can often be our own worst enemies. We think in ways that aren't helpful toward achieving that change. And so as part of an exercise to keep me in the right mindset, here are 5 ways that we can cause our own failure. The first is a big one. We treat the future as if it's an inexhaustible amount of time. We think of the future as stretching on forever, and so we feel comfortable putting things off just one more day. And I think part of the reason for this is because the scale of life is just so large. It's easy for us to see one day as being finite, but stretch that out as months or years, and suddenly we think we have all the time in the world, when we really don't. Hell, I made a bet with someone 10 years younger than me, in a lot better shape than me, that I would beat them in a 200-yard dash at the end of this year. And I did it because I can do anything in a year. That's so much time, right? Second, we don't do a good job of counting the cost of achieving these goals. We think of these things as just additions that we can incorporate into our lives, probably because we feel like we're wasting time anyways doing something else. Let me give you an example. I have a goal of running a half marathon in less than 2 hours this year. And in order to do it, I found a running schedule, and I thought, well, there's an hour and a half each day that I waste just browsing the internet or, watching videos. I can just take that time and put it toward running. But the truth is, that time isn't really wasted. That time has real value to me. And the reason I know this is because after about a week, I quit running, because that time watching videos started taking priority again. And so I quit not so much because running itself was hard, that was doable, that was fine, but because I didn't count the cost that I would need to pay in order to do it. So it would probably be better if I framed my goals in terms of, I'm going to pursue this instead of doing that. I'm going to learn to play the piano instead of watching Better Call Saul. And so that way, when the temptation of the show arises, at least it doesn't come as a surprise and I have a better shot at overcoming it. Number 3, we tend to think of ourselves as being magically transformed somewhere down the road. If you ask someone, hey, what do you want to be doing 5 years from now? There's a way to figure out if they're actually going to do it or not. And that's by following up by saying, well, what are you doing right now to work toward that? And if there's nothing there, it probably won't happen. I really do hope and believe that 5 years from now, I will have visible abs, like Hugh Jackman. But how dumb would it be for me to think that it's somehow magically going to happen if I'm not doing something today or tonight to work toward that? Another example is this YouTube channel. I really do hope that it takes off and that people like what I'm putting out there, but how dumb of me would it be to imagine myself as some sort of known YouTube person if I'm not writing or planning or filming or editing today? We don't magically transform at some undetermined point in the future. Fourth, we let the long-term goal overwhelm us, and it keeps us from doing the small things that we need to do today. If we're trying to make a big change, if it's something significant, then we can be overwhelmed by the enormity of it. And then it becomes like this big thing that's looming over us, and it can paralyze us from moving forward. But it really is a matter of perspective. I don't need to run 26 miles today. I just need to run 1 mile. When Chandler was scared of marrying Monica, and I know that this reference dates me, how did Ross get him to move forward? Well, he said to forget about getting married for a second. Can you just come home and, take a shower? Can you put on a tuxedo? Can you take that next small step? When we're feeling overwhelmed, the best thing we can do is to lower the scale, and can we focus on that small thing that we need to do today? And finally, I think we focus a little bit too much on finding the perfect method when that's really not the most important thing. Just think about every piece of exercise equipment that you've seen advertised on television, each one claiming to deliver the results that all the others have failed to do. Or think about all the diet programs that we have in this country, thousands upon thousands. The truth is that all of these methods for weight loss and fitness, they have about the same long-term success rate. The reality, at least for me, is that figuring out and focusing on why I want to do something is a lot more motivational than figuring out the perfect method. Remembering that I want to live longer so I can see my kids get married. Remembering that I want to be able to play basketball without my knees hurting. All of that stuff is much more motivational. And if I'm motivated, I'll figure out the method to do it. Human beings are endlessly creative creatures. I can figure out the next thing to try and I can learn from those failures. In fact, focusing on how I'm going to do something can actually make me feel like I'm making progress when I'm not doing anything at all. I'll make a spreadsheet forecasting my weight loss over the course of the next few months, and I'll feel satisfied like I actually did something when I haven't taken a single step toward actually losing weight. Okay, selfishly, this has been a great set of reminders for me that I don't have all the time in the world, that I need to really count the cost of what I'm trying to achieve, that I need to be doing something today in order to move forward, that if I'm getting overwhelmed, I need to focus on that small thing I need to do today, and that I can't get distracted by focusing too much on finding the perfect method. All of these are the things that I need to remember as I move forward, but I hope that it's been helpful to you too. And I'd love to know what goals you're pursuing and how you're making progress, so leave a comment and I'll take a look. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe. The next goal is 250 subscribers, and it would be great if you were a part of that group. Either way, I really appreciate you watching, and have a great day.